Now suppose we want to prove that work energy theorem for variable force. Now as we considered here that suppose this is point I, that is initial point, and we consider that object is moving on x-axis, and this is said final point F. Now object is moving suppose on x-axis from I to F, and we consider that the object is moving with a certain velocity v given by v. So we can apply a very well known equation that the kinetic energy of an object is given by 1/2 mv square. If we consider that the particle has a mass small m. Now to prove the work energy theorem for a variable force, we take a time differentiation, that is time rate of change of kinetic energy. So we will take dk upon dt is equals to d by dt of 1/2 mv square, that we will get taking 1 by 2 m as a common. The differentiation will be 2 into v, that is dv upon dt. So this is the basic equation that we have obtained over here. Now we can say that 2 will cancel out. So here 2 will cancel out each other's effect, and we will have the remaining part as m v into dv upon dt, and that is the portion. Now one more thing, that dv upon dt is acceleration, so we can say that m into v into a, that we can modify, that is m into a into v. Now ma can be represented as a f, so we can put it as a f into v. So the rate of change of kinetic energy is f into v. But here one more interesting part that will come into the picture. See, here in left hand side it is dk upon dt, while in right hand side it is f into v. So now we can put is as a f into dx upon dt, and in the left hand side it is already dk upon dt. So here dt will cancel out, and we will have, that is dk is equals to f into dx. Now here we have already explained that we have considered the motion is on x-axis, and object is considered to move from say point I to point F. So we have already considered that object is moving from point I to point F, and therefore the change in kinetic energy that will be explained with the help of integration will be turned as, that is integration of dk, that is change in kinetic energy from its initial kinetic energy to its final kinetic energy, and is equals to integration f dx, that is from xi to object is moving from xf. Here we have considered x because it is moving on x-axis. Now we know that kf minus ki, that is kf after the explanation of the, after the simplification of the kinetic energy term of integration, we will have this is equals to integration from xi to xf, and that is f into dx. So this f into dx term is nothing but force into displacement, and this displacement is unidirectional, that is on x-axis, and therefore it can be considered as a work. So it is very clear that we can convert this whole conversation into a work energy theorem, that is W is equals to delta K. Here that work energy theorem is useful in a variety of problems. It does not in general incorporate the complete dynamical information of Newton's second law. It is an integral from Newton's second law. So we have already F equals to ma, and then from F equals to ma we have derived this equation. Okay, so here it is an integral form of Newton's second law. Now Newton's second law is a relation between acceleration and force at any instant of time. So work energy theorem involves an integral over an interval of time. Now in this scene, the temporal, that is a time, information contained in a statement of Newton's second law is integrated over and is not available explicitly. Another observation is that Newton's second law for 2 or 3 dimensions is in a vector form, whereas the work itself is a scalar. So work energy theorem is in a scalar form. So in the scalar form, information with respect to the direction contained in Newton's second law is not present. So here the information regarding direction cannot be explained, but here we have considered that it is a unidirectional. So in general we can say that generally the direction of the displacement will be in general the direction of the force. So this is the potential energy, or the concept behind the potential energy. Here it is very clear that the word potential itself suggests the possibility or the capacity for action. Suppose we say that this object has this much potential, that means it shows its ability to do some action or to perform some action. So the term potential energy brings in our mind a very valued thing, that is a stored energy. Suppose we are having a bow and arrow. So suppose we can say that if arrow is stretched on this bow, and we say that if we release it, it will move with a greater speed. So obviously why it moves? However, the question that why it moves with greater speed. So the answer is very clear, that when this bow is stretched in this portion, it will possess a potential energy, and then when it is released, that potential energy is converted into kinetic energy, and this arrow will shoot from that bow. So it is very clear that when the stretch bowstring possesses a potential energy inside it, it is used in a motion of arrow, and the arrow flies with a great speed. The same thing happens with the earth also. We know that our earth is having so many segments which are called fault lines inside it. So our earth has many fault lines in it, in which there are continuously movement are taking place. Now our crust is also not uniform, but it has many dislocations inside it. All these that random lines which are dislocations inside it. From viewing outside, we found that Earth is uniform, but actually it is not uniform. It is having too many discontinuities and dislocations, and which are called as the fault lines. Now these fault lines in the earth crust are like compressed spring. They are like spring. So they are continuously vibrating, and they are possessing a large amount of potential energy. When these springs are, we say that, compressed in that much amount that it cannot have the more energy to store, it will start shaking and it shattered like this. These phenomena converted into the earthquake, or we say that it is earthquake. So that stored energy of the earth, or the potential energy, is the stored energy by the virtue of the position of the configuration of a body. The body left to itself release this stored energy in the form of kinetic energy. So that actual earthquake is generally, we can say that this type of that motion of the earth is nothing but it's all the potential stored energy which is used. Now it will start vibrating, and that vibrations incorporate in earthquake, so that converted into earthquake. So this notation, that is a potential energy, is very useful and very interesting. Now let us see that how we can calculate it for that another example. Suppose we have another one example. We considered over here one more example with that simple our routine day to day life example. Suppose I have one object, say one ball of mass m is lying somewhere. Now suppose we raise its height, say up to h, and we bring it to the portion from, we say that we bring it from here to, say, here, and actually the position was somewhere here, and we brought it to this height. Now in bringing it to this height, suppose the change in its height is, suppose, h, and this is, say, or we say that ground is somewhere here, so it rises up about h height from the ground. At that position it is stationary. Now suppose stationary means initial velocity is 0, and it is held stationary. It is experiencing gravitational force, that is mg, towards downward direction, and the potential energy of this ball is given by, it is represented as, that is equal to m dash, and this potential energy is a function of height, and v depends on the height itself. Now what we will do, we will release this ball from here, and the ball is moving towards the ground. So let us consider that we release this ball from here, and this ball start moving from here to here and here. So initially the ball was here and it started coming down, and we say it reaches somewhere here with that example, and we considered that the ball reaches at this point with certain velocity v final. So we say that when it reaches here, it will have certain velocity, that is v final. So now When v final will be the velocity, obviously we can explain this phenomena as v square is equals to 2gh. This equation comes from chapter number 5, that is laws of motion, in which we studied that v final minus v initial is equals to 2gh. So that is the equation. Now if we multiply both the side with m, we will have mv square is equals to 2mgh. Now what we will do, we will take this 2 to the numerator, to the denominator, so it will be 1 half mv square, and that is mgh. Here we can say that whatever the initial potential energy is now converted into this kinetic energy. So the initial potential energy now converted into kinetic energy, and that is the main role of these potential energies used. So potential energy when released, it converted into the kinetic energy. So the notation of potential energy is applicable only to the class of forces where work done against the force gets stored up as energy. When external constraints are removed, it manifests itself as a kinetic energy. So all the stored energy will convert it into kinetic energy ideally. Actually, there are some frictions forces are also there that are having some conversion of the energy into the another type of energy. But ideally, we consider that whatever the stored potential energy is totally converted into the kinetic energy. And mathematically, the potential energy, that is Vx, that we have explained over here, can be written as Vx is equals to, that we have written mgx, suppose it is a function of x, and therefore if we write the force equation, that is Fx is nothing but minus of del by del x of this potential energy. So obviously, how to get it? If we differentiate this equation with respect to x, what we will get, that is dv by dx is equals to d by dx of mgx. Mg is a constant that can be kept out, so if we keep it out, we can say that it is mg, and this is 1. So this is dv by dx. But here, when it is the matter of gravitational force, we can say that that force is against this motion, or the potential energy, and therefore it is termed as a minus mg. So F is equals to minus mg as per as actual equation, that is a stored energy, and that will convert it into the force, that if we write it as F is equals to mg, that is minus dv by dx. So this is the concept of potential energy and the explanation. The work done by the conservative force such as gravity depends on the initial and final position only. So we need not to have the original, that distance that it has covered, or path. It is path independent. In the chapter number 5, we have already worked on examples dealing with that inclined planes. So for that inclined planes, the speed at the bottom was given by under root 2gh respective of the arrangement of the inclination. So that is also learned in that previous chapter number 5, that if we consider this is height h, and then if we have to calculate the motion of the ball in this plane, it does not have anything with this length or any path. It is just given by the height of it, and the final term, that is the speed at the bottom, is given that is root 2gh. So that is derived in chapter number 5. We have already studied it. The dimension of potential energy, the dimensional formula is given by m1, that is energy. So obviously the energy will have same type of dimensional formula. So it is m1 L2 T minus 2. Its unit is also joule because it is also energy. So unit of energy is joule, same as kinetic energy or work done. And there we can say simply, in general, if we have one statement that we have to repeat again, we can say that the change in potential energy is equals to minus of work done against the motion. That this is the in general explanation of the potential energy that we need to understand.